If you're over 60, there's something happening to your heart that you may not even notice. Every day, patients walk into my clinic thinking they're doing the right thing. They eat a decent breakfast, they avoid sugar, and they make sure to include protein, usually eggs. But then I look at their tests. Their blood pressure is creeping up. Their coronary arteries, those small vessels that supply blood directly to the heart, are starting to narrow. Their circulation is sluggish. Their energy is fading, and their hearts are silently struggling. The surprising part? These are people who think they're eating healthy, and most of them have one thing in common. They're cooking and eating eggs in a way that slowly damages their heart without them even knowing. I'm not here to tell you to stop eating eggs. In fact, when used properly, eggs can be one of the most powerful tools for heart health, energy, and even intimacy. But when you cook them the wrong way, combine them with the wrong foods, or eat them without understanding what your body needs after 60, you might be doing more harm than good. As a heart doctor with over 30 years of experience, I've seen what's happening inside the arteries of seniors across the country. And I can tell you this. Sometimes it's not the big, obvious things that harm your heart. Sometimes it's the small habits, repeated daily, that quietly lead to serious damage. So let me show you what's really going on with your morning eggs and how to turn them into a healing food that protects your heart instead of hurting it. For years, eggs were considered a health villain. They were blamed for high cholesterol, clogged arteries, and heart attacks. Doctors, nutritionists, and even national guidelines told seniors to limit or avoid eggs entirely. Why? Because eggs contain dietary cholesterol, specifically in the yolk. And for decades, we believed that dietary cholesterol directly increased blood cholesterol. But science has evolved, and what we now understand is this. For most people, the cholesterol in food has very little impact on the cholesterol in your blood. In fact, the body regulates its own cholesterol production based on what you eat. When you consume cholesterol through food, your liver naturally produces less. The real threats to heart health? They're not the eggs. They're the processed foods, the trans fats, the sugars, the inflammatory oils, and the way we combine healthy ingredients with harmful ones. Eggs are actually one of nature's most complete foods. Each egg contains high-quality protein, healthy fats, essential B vitamins, selenium, choline, and antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin. For the aging heart, these nutrients are vital. Choline helps maintain the integrity of the blood vessels. B12 supports red blood cell production and oxygen delivery. Lutein and zeaxanthin reduce oxidative stress in arterial walls. But here's where the problem begins. Instead of poaching or boiling them, many people still fry eggs in unhealthy oils, like corn, soybean, or canola, exposing them to high heat and oxidation. Then they add bacon, sausage, or processed toast full of preservatives. The result? A breakfast that looks traditional, but quietly promotes inflammation, arterial stiffness, and long-term cardiovascular strain. To make things worse, the nutrient-rich yolk is often overcooked until it's rubbery, or even thrown away due to outdated fears. What was once a healing food becomes another contributor to disease. We've misunderstood eggs, not because they were ever dangerous, but because we never respected the way they should be prepared and paired. And when you're over 60, these details matter. Your metabolism slows, your arteries become more sensitive, your heart can't afford to fight against poor choices every single morning. The good news? You don't have to give up eggs. You just have to give up the myths and the old habits that no longer serve your health. In the next section, we'll take a closer look at what's really happening inside your heart after 60, and why small mistakes now create much bigger problems later. As you age, your body changes in ways you can't always feel, until it's too late. Nowhere is this more true than in your cardiovascular system. After 60, your heart and blood vessels become more sensitive, less flexible, and far more reactive to the food you eat and the habits you follow. Let's start with your arteries. When you were younger, your arteries were elastic. They expanded and contracted easily, helping your heart pump blood efficiently to every part of your body. But over time, the lining of those arteries, called the endothelium, begins to wear down. It becomes less responsive. It doesn't produce as much nitric oxide, a natural compound that tells your blood vessels to relax and open up. Without enough nitric oxide, your arteries stiffen, blood flow slows, and your heart has to work harder to push blood through those narrow, rigid vessels. This is especially dangerous for your coronary arteries, the small vessels that deliver blood directly to your heart muscle. When they begin to close off, you don't always feel it. There's no pain, no warning, just a gradual loss of circulation until one day, it's too late. Many seniors think high blood pressure or heart disease just comes with age. But the truth is, age doesn't cause the damage. Your habits do. And breakfast is one of the most overlooked parts of that equation, because when you combine a weakened endothelium with high sodium, high fat, pro-inflammatory meals, you're placing daily stress on a system that's already struggling to keep up. That's why men and women over 60 often experience cold hands and feet, brain fog or lightheadedness, poor sleep quality, erectile dysfunction or reduced libido, chronic fatigue even with minimal activity. These are not random symptoms. They're signs of poor circulation and a heart that's being overworked. And the worst part? It happens silently. You won't feel your arteries narrowing. You won't hear your blood pressure rising. You won't notice your heart becoming inflamed until it finally speaks through a diagnosis you never expected. But here's the truth no one tells you. Much of this damage is reversible, and you don't need extreme diets or medication to turn things around. You just need to stop repeating small mistakes that add up over time, starting with the way you cook your eggs. In the next section, we'll look at exactly how that happens, how one common breakfast habit can silently hurt your heart, and how to fix it starting today. Most people think of breakfast as a chance to fuel their day, but what if your first meal is slowly working against your heart? Let's talk about eggs, not the egg itself, but what happens when you cook it the wrong way. One of the most common mistakes I see is cooking eggs in refined vegetable oils. Oils like canola, soybean, corn, and sunflower are marketed as heart-healthy. But when heated to high temperatures, as in frying, they oxidize easily. This means they break down into compounds that create inflammation in the arteries, particularly the endothelium, the inner lining of your blood vessels. Inflammation is not just a word. It's a biological fire that damages the walls of your arteries, makes them sticky, and encourages plaque to build up, especially in your coronary arteries. Now add in the next mistake, overcooking the egg. When you cook eggs at high heat until the yolk turns gray or the whites become rubbery, you destroy critical nutrients. Choline, which supports blood vessel flexibility, vitamin B12, needed for healthy red blood cells, lutein and zeaxanthin, which protect against oxidative damage. Instead of getting a nutrient-dense start to your day, you're getting an oxidized fat bomb that fuels arterial stress. The third mistake? What you eat with the eggs. Think about the classic breakfast plate. Fried eggs, bacon or sausage, buttered white toast, and maybe a cup of coffee with cream and sugar. This combination delivers excess saturated fat, nitrates from processed meat, high sodium, refined carbs, zero fiber or antioxidants. The result is thicker blood, higher pressure, and reduced nitric oxide, the exact opposite of what your heart needs to function efficiently. And remember, at 60 or older, your heart is less forgiving. What might have been tolerable at 30 now becomes a cumulative threat. Let me be clear, eggs are not the enemy. But when you cook them in the wrong oil, at the wrong temperature, and pair them with the wrong foods, you're turning something natural and healing into something inflammatory and destructive. And you're doing it every morning, often without realizing it. This is why so many of my patients say, "Doc, I eat eggs every day. I thought I was being healthy." But their arteries tell a different story. The good news is, these mistakes are easy to fix once you know what to look for. In the next section, I'll share a story of a man named Tom, who thought he was doing everything right, but learned that his heart needed something very different. Tom was 68 when he first walked into my office. Retired electrician, No major complaints. Just one thing he couldn't shake. He felt off. Not sick, not in pain, just off. "I'm eating clean," he said. "No sugar, no fast food. I walk a little. I sleep okay, but I still feel tired all the time." He described the kind of tired that doesn't go away with rest, the kind that creeps into your afternoons, that slows your thinking, that quietly starts pulling you away from your life, your wife, and even your confidence. So we dug in. His labs were borderline, not alarming. Blood pressure slightly elevated, LDL cholesterol creeping up, inflammatory markers higher than I liked. Then I asked about his breakfast. "2 eggs every morning," he said proudly. "Fry 'em in a little oil, toss in some sausage, toast on the side. Simple. No junk." That little oil turned out to be corn oil. The sausage was processed and high in sodium. The toast was white bread. And the eggs? Fried hard, yolks overcooked, almost crispy around the edges. It sounded normal, familiar, but it was exactly the kind of breakfast that silently damages the arteries, especially after 60. We ran a carotid scan. Early signs of plaque buildup, thickening of the artery walls, and more importantly, reduced blood flow velocity. Tom was shocked. "No one ever told me this could happen from breakfast," he said. "I thought I was doing it right." That's what stuck with me, not just the numbers, but the look on his face. Tom wasn't careless. He just didn't know. And that's what this is really about. Not fear, not guilt, but awareness. Because when Tom made a few small changes, everything began to shift. His energy, his sleep, even his relationship with his wife. In the next section, I'll walk you through the exact changes he made and how you can apply them in your own kitchen starting tomorrow morning. Tom didn't need a complete lifestyle overhaul. He didn't need to throw out his favorite foods or give up breakfast altogether. He just needed to relearn how to build a morning meal that worked with his heart, not against it. So here's what we did. First, we swapped the cooking oil. No more corn or vegetable oil. Instead, he started using a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil or a pat of grass-fed butter. These fats are stable under moderate heat and actually support cardiovascular health rather than inflame it. Next, we changed the cooking method. No more high-heat frying. Instead, Tom learned to poach, soft boil, or scramble low and slow. By keeping the yolk intact and the whites tender, he preserved the key nutrients his body desperately needed. Choline for vascular integrity. B vitamins for oxygen delivery. Healthy fats for hormone support. We also looked at the plate as a whole. Sausage, gone. In its place, a handful of sautéed spinach or kale, half an avocado, a slice of sprouted grain toast, or a spoonful of oats. This one change added natural nitrates, potassium, magnesium, fiber, and more plant-based antioxidants, all of which help relax blood vessels, stabilize blood pressure, and reduce oxidative stress. And something else started happening. After about 10 days, Tom said, "My feet feel warmer. I'm not crashing in the afternoons anymore. I'm sleeping better. I even feel more clear-headed." And then he smiled and said something I'll never forget. "I didn't realize how much I'd pulled away from my wife until I started feeling like myself again." That's what real nourishment does. It doesn't just feed your stomach. It brings you back into your body, back into your energy, back into connection. And it starts with something as small as a better breakfast. In the next section, I'll explain the science behind these improvements and why these changes aren't just good ideas, but real strategies backed by heart research. What happened with Tom wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't placebo. It was physiology, pure and simple. When you eat the right kind of breakfast, you're not just filling your stomach. You're activating a cascade of systems designed to support your circulation, your hormones, your brain, and your heart. Let's break it down. First, choline, found richly in egg yolks, is essential for the integrity of your blood vessel walls. It helps maintain the structure and flexibility of your endothelium, the inner lining of arteries, including your coronary arteries. A strong endothelium means better blood pressure regulation, better circulation, and less plaque buildup. Second, eggs contain arginine, an amino acid that helps produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is what tells your arteries to relax and expand. It's especially important as you age because your body naturally produces less of it over time. That's one reason blood pressure tends to rise in your 60s and beyond. Without enough nitric oxide, your arteries narrow, and blood has a harder time reaching your heart, brain, and yes, even your intimate areas. Third, B vitamins, especially B6, B12, and folate, play a major role in lowering homocysteine, an amino acid that increases your risk of heart disease when it builds up. Eggs contain these vitamins in meaningful amounts, but overcooking destroys them. That's why cooking method matters just as much as the food itself. Then there's healthy fat. When you combine eggs with avocado or olive oil, you increase your intake of monounsaturated fats, which have been shown to lower LDL cholesterol, raise HDL, the good cholesterol, improve insulin sensitivity, and reduce inflammation. And when you add leafy greens like spinach or kale, you're bringing in natural dietary nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide. This boosts circulation even further, enhancing oxygen delivery throughout the body. There's also a hormonal benefit. For men, dietary cholesterol and healthy fats support testosterone production, which tends to decline with age. Low testosterone is linked not just to reduced libido, but to fatigue, depression, and poor heart health. For women, better blood flow and balanced blood sugar help reduce mood swings, dryness, and sleep disturbances, common challenges after menopause. And finally, there's the mind-body connection. When your blood flows well, everything else works better. Your cognition sharpens. Your energy stays consistent. You feel more emotionally present. That's not hype. That's circulation. And it all begins with how you fuel your body at the start of your day. In the next section, we'll go deeper into the most common mistakes seniors are still making with their eggs, and what to stop doing immediately if you care about your heart. Even with all the right intentions, most seniors are still making the same small but dangerous mistakes at breakfast. Not because they don't care about their health, but because they've been following habits passed down from decades ago, or blindly trusting food labels that don't tell the full story. Let's take a closer look at the most common egg-related mistakes I see in people over 60. 1. Cooking with the wrong oil. Vegetable oils like corn, canola, soybean, and sunflower may seem harmless. They're cheap, easy to find, and have been marketed as heart-healthy for years. But the truth is, these oils are highly processed, oxidize quickly under heat, and create inflammation inside the arteries. When seniors use them to fry eggs every day, they're slowly damaging their blood vessels. 2. Overcooking the egg. Many seniors grew up believing that well done is the safe way to eat eggs. But overcooked yolks, especially when they turn gray or rubbery, lose vital nutrients like choline and B vitamins. You're left with a dry egg that's lost most of its cardiovascular benefits. 3. Pairing eggs with processed meat. Bacon, sausage, ham. All of them are high in sodium, saturated fat, and nitrates. These compounds constrict blood vessels and raise blood pressure, especially in aging bodies. Combining them with eggs turns a potentially healing meal into a high-risk inflammatory load. 4. Eating without balance. Eggs by themselves are incomplete. Without fiber, antioxidants, and healthy fat, they lack the support your heart and digestion need. Skipping greens, fruits, or healthy carbs leaves your plate unbalanced and your blood sugar unsteady. 5. Distracted or stressed eating. This one surprises people, but eating while watching the news, scrolling your phone, or arguing at the table activates your sympathetic nervous system, your fight-or-flight mode. This raises cortisol, constricts blood vessels, and reduces digestive function. It turns digestion into stress, which your heart has to manage. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight, but these are 5 habits you can begin shifting today. In the next section, I'll show you exactly how to do that, with simple heart-supportive breakfast combinations that are quick, delicious, and made for people over 60. Creating a heart-healing breakfast doesn't require fancy ingredients or hours in the kitchen. It just takes intention and a few smart swaps. Here's how to start your day with a plate that protects your arteries, boosts your energy, and supports circulation long after breakfast is over. Step 1. Choose your eggs wisely. Go for pasture-raised or organic eggs when possible. They tend to have higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids and better nutrient profiles than conventional eggs. Cook them low and slow. Soft-boiled, 6 to 7 minutes. Poached, gently scrambled in a teaspoon of olive oil or a little grass-fed butter. These methods protect heat-sensitive nutrients like choline and B vitamins. Step 2. Add heart-friendly sides. Balance your plate with ingredients that support nitric oxide production, fight inflammation, and stabilize blood sugar. Here are 3 simple combinations. Day 1. The Energizer. 2 soft-boiled eggs. Half an avocado with lemon and sea salt. 1 slice of sprouted grain toast. Cup of green tea or black coffee, no sugar. Day 2. The Circulation Booster. 2 poached eggs. Sautéed spinach or arugula with garlic and olive oil. 1 small sweet potato, boiled or roasted. Warm lemon water with turmeric and black pepper day. 3. The Brain plus Heart Duo. 2 scrambled eggs, low heat. 1 part 4 cup blueberries or raspberries. 2 tablespoons chia pudding or oatmeal. Sprinkle of walnuts or flax seeds. Step 3. Eat mindfully. Sit down at the table. Take a breath before your first bite. Chew slowly. Avoid the news, scrolling, or stressful conversation while eating. A calm nervous system allows better digestion, nutrient absorption, and blood vessel function. Step 4. Stay consistent. Your arteries don't heal in one day. They respond to repeated kindness. One good breakfast won't fix years of damage, but 10 days, 30 days, that's where change begins. That's where Tom began, and where so many others have reclaimed energy, intimacy, and a stronger connection to life. In the next and final section, I'll leave you with a message I share with every patient over 60 who wants to protect their heart and rediscover how good it feels to be fully alive again. Your heart has been working for you since the day you were born, without breaks, without complaints, without asking for anything, except that you care for it in return. And after 60, that care matters more than ever. Every beat pumps life into your brain, your muscles, your memories, your emotions. But as time goes on, your heart becomes more vulnerable. Not weak, just more responsive to what you give it. The food you eat, the rest you allow, the emotions you hold on to or let go. Most people think heart disease shows up with pain, a sudden pressure in the chest, a dramatic moment. But for many, it begins quietly, with a heavy meal, a missed walk, a forgotten vegetable, an egg fried the wrong way. I don't tell you this to scare you. I tell you this because it means you still have power. Power in your plate, power in your habits, power in the way you start your day. When you choose to eat with care, when you swap inflammation for healing, when you build breakfast with your heart in mind, you don't just add years to your life, you add life to your years. Tom felt that difference. So did countless others I've worked with. Not because they were perfect, but because they started. One change, one morning, one egg at a time. So tomorrow, when you step into your kitchen, ask yourself, will my breakfast stress my heart or support it? Because every decision you make, yes, even breakfast, can either narrow your arteries or open your life. Your heart is still beating for you. Let today be the day you start beating for it too.